Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at r/best of Redditor updates, and I feel like we may all be rather angry with this husband towards the end of it. So if you feel like getting a little bit angry at absolute strangers on the internet today with me, then do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. This one was shared to the subreddit by Direct Caterpillar 77, and the title is Husband has a new chosen family he prioritizes and sees every week. I'm jealous and frustrated. So this one was fuck me. So the original post was October 15th, 2022. My husband, John, and I are mid-30s and together 8 years. We've been through a lot of big life stresses. It has strained our marriage, and we've worked hard in 2 years of marriage counselling to rebuild. I'm now 8 months pregnant. I'm feeling vulnerable, huge, hormonal, and tired. I'm the primary earner, and workload has been a lot on top of baby prep. I'm normally very rational, independent, and sort of non-emotive person. I've never been jealous before, but my husband has a new female friend, Pam, and I'm now jealous and possessive. Even I find it weird. Pam is mid-20s, white, has my husband's preferred physical features, is bubbly, spontaneous in an open relationship, and into the same hobbies as my husband. I'm sorry, can we just clarify? I know we can't, but I wish we could. How do you know that she has your husband's preferred physical features? Has he said to you that she has the physical features I like most? Because otherwise, how would you really know that? You would assume that you have his preferred physical features. I don't like that. That gives me the ick. I have my own qualities, but I'm pretty much the opposite. John met Pam and liked her immediately. I remember him coming home and telling me how cool she was and how he's been invited to a hobby event she hosts with her partners. He's been attending that every other weekend for a year. Partners? Question mark? Not that there's anything wrong with having multiple. If that's what floats your boat, then that's what floats your boat. I'm just curious if that was meant to read that way. Then a few months later, he also wanted me to get to know Pam, so we've started having her and her partner Kevin over with some of our other friends on the in-between weekends, so my husband sees them every weekend. To be fair, Pam and Kevin have been really nice and are good friends to John, but there are things I've noticed. Pam always sits next to John. She and John say "love you" casually to each other with the group. John is very protective of Pam, and he remembers things she likes and buys her gifts. Nothing pricey, but thoughtful. If for some reason one of these events is cancelled, John is noticeably sad. Going even a week without seeing them is hard for him. Because of these weekend commitments, we don't do date nights and rush other activities. If I have other plans, then we split up and don't see each other. We're discussing in counselling but can't come to an agreement. Our counsellor facilitates but doesn't give direct guidance. Get another counsellor, my lovey. Your counsellor sounds absolutely bloody useless then, because that's the whole point of a counsellor, to counsel you on things, which is to guide you. Obviously to never tell you what to do, but for goodness sake, to give you an idea of what direction you should at least try and head in. If you're just basically going in and discussing things and coming out with nothing more, then you're pissing money up the wall for no reason. But this is concerning. It wouldn't be so bad if John was like, I can't hang out with you guys this weekend because I'm going to spend time with my wife, and plans are cancelled. No worries, it means I get to spend time with my wife. Having close friends and having good friends and having a bit of a loving relationship with those friends isn't inherently bad if you're in a relationship with somebody. However, I think when you're putting that over your actual marriage, that's not good. No, I don't like that. I've shared that it feels like he's prioritising this relationship over our own, that I hate that these standing date nights with Pam and her partners trump our own. Again, partners. Is there more than one? I'm dying to know just because I'm nosy. Tell me, please, OP. That he's not keeping up with commitments to me or the baby, and I'm managing with my own support network of family and paid help, but at 8 months along, I need help. That this needs to change. He shared that Pam and her partners are part of his new chosen family since he's had to move away from his family because of me. That I said I was okay for him to spend this time with them and I can't just change my mind. That it's unfair. That he's willing to spend more time with me, but then something else needs to give. Oh, the cheeky get. Either chores for him or me adjusting my work schedule. No, John, that's not how a healthy relationship works, my lovey. Friendships come after everything else in your marriage. That he thinks I'm overly sensitive and that I'm only worried because Pam's relationships are open and my insecurities are something I should deal with in an individual therapy. I'm really not sure what a compromise looks like, and counselling seems to have just caused us to entrench even more. Wondering what advice anyone out there might have. My advice would be that he needs to pull his socks up. I think OP's taking on far more of the load than they should be, and John is putting way too much time into these friends, and their marriage is suffering. People should be able to have friends, and friends of the opposite sex, absolutely, totally agree. However, when you're married with kids, you have to nurture your family first, and then go and have your time with your friends. But you should never be putting your friends above your marriage and your house and your family. TLDR, my husband has a new chosen family, including a woman I've become jealous of, maybe unfairly, who my husband sees every weekend. I am also hugely pregnant and hormonal. Therapist says we should figure out a compromise. And also, can I just say, I don't think the jealousy is unfair, but I also don't think it's Pam's fault. I think it's John's fault that the jealousy is there. John has basically nurtured this jealous reaction and kind of almost encouraged it without realizing that's what he's doing. I mean, he might even realize it. I don't know. So relevant comments. So Skitten says, how do you plan to handle the new upcoming baby? Have you discussed what your schedule will look like then? Since he is going to need to spend a lot of time caring for the child and your schedules will need to change, it seems like the thing to do is to start fresh and decide what things are going to look like once the baby is born. Since you are the primary earner, he should be the primary caregiver, and you will both have less time for socialising. And then OOP says, we're going to take a break from social commitments for 2 months and then reevaluate. But he's likely to want to continue to see them at least every other weekend. The compromise to take care of the baby is he is going to stop working to take care of baby Monday to Friday, 1 weekend day for our family and 1 weekend day with Pam and crew for their hobby. I've said in counselling this doesn't seem reasonable. I'm running out of options, debating calling my husband's dad at this point, who I'm close with and will be on my side. But husband will probably lose it if I bring in his dad. Oh, please do. Please grass on him. Deleted user then says, she is in an open marriage and they say love you to each other in public. He's cheating on you. How does he defend this in therapy? I mean, whether he's cheating or not, he might not be. He might just be a little bit too obsessive over Pam, but nothing's actually happening. You don't know. Does seem a bit odd though now, doesn't it? And even if he isn't cheating, he is absolutely doing everything he can to make his wife feel like he is. OOP then says, he says it just means love you in a generic, casual way. And when they say it, they mean it to everyone in the group. He says it's the same as when he says love you to male friends he is close with, and I shouldn't read too much into it. I never said love you to a male friend, even only rarely to female friends. To be fair, if he does say I love you to his male friends too, maybe that is just the way he is inclined in his friendships. I am also like the OP though. I don't think I've ever said love you to a female friend or a male friend. None of them. They can feel my affection through my actions, thank you please, because I don't do open displays of emotion. Doesn't make me comfy. And then a deleted user says, did you tell him it makes you uncomfortable? I mean, they're in therapy, so clearly. And then The Void, not me, by the way, wasn't me, says, you're pregnant with his child. If his deadbeat ass wants to go have a new family, tell him to enjoy that and take him to the cleaners for child support. These gaming nights, is it Dungeons or Dragons or something similar? Watch a YouTube channel called Neckbeardia. Get a sobering laugh from listening to the stories of sexual debauchery that tend to happen in those gatherings. Okay, I've got to check that out. Your husband does not want to be with you anymore. He isn't sexually attracted to you anymore. You married a child who wants wants to play with others instead of taking care of his offspring. Guys like this make me want to vomit. And then the OOP says, ding, 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 Dungeons and Dragons with MTG for good measure. What's MTG? And then Mama Miazzi says, have you talked to Pam to find out what he's been telling her? I'm disappointed that she hasn't clued in to put a stop to it, but he could be lying to her. After all, you have been part of this social circle too. Is she friendly with you too? I would explain that he's been behaving in ways towards her and in private with you that make you very uncomfortable, and you'd rather communicate openly with her about it. It will give you a better read on it, and best case scenario, it may very well put a stop to it if he has been misleading her. So then the OOP says, I only see Pam in group settings along with other friends, and she's now been introduced to my friend group. We're socially nice to each other, but definitely not close enough to talk directly to each other. And to be honest, neither of us really likes the other. We're very, very different people. I mean, I don't care. I wouldn't care less if we were socially close or anything. I would still be on the blower. Hello, Pam. Beep, beep, beep. What the hell is going on, my love? What are you up to? Are you knocking boots with my hubby or not? Can I just ask? Pull on the big girl pants OP and have a word, because you're never going to find it out from your absolute testicleless husband. Date May 23rd, 2025. It's been a while since. Our little boy is 2.5 now. Thank you to everyone who commented. It was the kick in the butt I needed to lay down the law, especially the folks that rightly pointed out that I was a passive doormat without self-respect. That stung, but was true. Sometimes we just need to hear from internet strangers what we don't want to hear from people close to us. After my post, I had a big sit down with John on the things that I was upset about. My husband was travelling to be a groomsman for a good friend. I told him to stay out there for an additional week and decide. 1. If he wanted to stay married and wanted to be a family. 2. If he wanted the above, think about what needed to change on his part, not just Pam, but the other stuff too, how he was going to be a good husband, father, going forward. 3, arrange to go over it with me and our marriage counsellor on his return. If you haven't changed your marriage counsellor, I fear I may scream and completely combust my microphone. Alternatively, if he didn't do the above, then when he got back, we'd start logistics on separation and co-parenting. And surprisingly, he did all the above. I am actually shocked, I'm not going to lie. Apparently, he reflected a lot at the wedding. His friend and his wife are such an in-love couple, and thought a lot about us and our relationship and what he wanted. He came back and proposed changes, immediate break from Pam, company, and to stop their hobby. He'd play some D&D, MTG online, but that was it. He'd take over remaining baby prep, nursery, logistics, and promised to lay out a postpartum care plan for me and baby. He stuck to his word, and also worked hard to regain my trust. Then we had our son, and my husband was over the moon in love. Him and baby have been inseparable ever since and have an amazing adventure-filled life with all the hobbies: baby toddler swim, gym, soccer, co-op, and a great local parent community. After our kiddo was born, Pam lost interest in my husband anyway. She doesn't like kids, and shortly thereafter cheated on her poly relationship. Okay, I'm sure there's a way that does work, but in my head, because I don't know a lot about poly relationships, because it would not be for me. Can you cheat on a poly relationship? I'm going to look into that. Okay, bear with me. I'm going to go away and I'm going to look into it real quick. Okay, so apparently yes you can, because obviously even in a poly relationship, people have to agree to who the other is seeing, and everyone has to be on board, which makes sense. It does make sense. That's why I did think to myself, I bet there is a way that they can, but I wasn't sure. But yes, you can cheat in a poly relationship if you are not all consenting to each other's partners and what have you. Kevin and John have actually become good friends since then, and as I've reflected, I think I also just actually hated Pam. She's everything I don't like: relying on men for affirmation, no job life ambition, frivolous and stupid, and apparently, according to Kevin, the feeling was mutual. She thought I was controlling, stuck up, robotic Ivy League workaholic who didn't appreciate or support my husband's hobbies or quirks. I was also a lot more emotional during pregnancy than normal. My husband, upon reflection, liked being needed and admired. I mean, yes, of course. Obviously, it's all worked out well in the end and there were reasons for everything, but still, your husband was still being a bellend, love. Don't give him too much credit. He was still putting friends' needs above his marriage and children, so, don't give him too much of a pass. But I'm glad he's worked on it now. That, that is all that matters, I suppose, at the end of the day. We had a lot to work through with us, but 2 years later, we're in a great spot. I also had a weird shift in hormones postpartum, which made my S drive really, really high, which for us helped a lot with our relationship. Didn't want this to be too long, but there were a lot of changes we implemented to get back to a loving place. John feels a lot of purpose in being a dad and supported me as my career has taken off. Sometimes things are still hard. My job is really high stress. Toddlers are a lot of work. Oh, preaching to the choir, my love. I did it twice. Never again. If somebody would just come and rip out my womb, I would gladly let them take it. I keep saying to my doctors, can I get a hysterectomy? Because I have no interest, tubes tied, something. And they're like, no, because you're too young. And I'm just like, love, I'm mid-30s. I have been single for 5 years. I have no inclination of having any more kids, thank you very much. None. Take them. Not the kids, my ovaries, by the way, just to clarify. But we're pretty happy. We spent this morning snuggling in bed with our toddler and dog, pretending we were on a boat, making hairdryer sounds and giving hugs. We live a pretty boring suburban kind of life, but it works for us. Thanks everyone for the push for me to stand up for what I wanted and needed. I mean, yeah, why the hell not live a boring life though? I'm so boring. I never leave the house and that is how I like it. The maybe 3 times a year where I actually go out and have social time like that, out. I'm written off for a week afterwards. It's too much. I must say, though, props to the OP and their husband, because it's twice now that they've obviously had a breakdown in their marriage and they've managed to get through it. So, I mean, they're braver than most, really. A lot of marriages and relationships don't survive those kinds of massive breakdowns where communication seems to be null and void and, you're having to literally go to counselling to try and get somewhere. So I think that's really impressive. And, it is, I suppose, a testament to how much they do actually care about each other, because even though I fully believe he was being an absolute prick for a little bit there, he pulled it all together in the end and gave himself a little wobble and actually did the right thing. And that's all that matters, really, isn't it? So then down in the comments of the Best of Redditor Updates post, Queen of NZ says, made me think of another borrow about the man who was helping some other couple while missing the birth of his baby, then was surprised Pikachu face that she wouldn't bring the baby home. Okay, I need to try and find that story. I'm glad this one had a better outcome. That other one left me furious. Okay, so that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me and my absolute ramblings today, I do apologise. It's been a good few days since I actually recorded anything. I had family over, so I've been a busy bee. And yeah, I feel like I've rambled because I feel like I've kind of missed talking to myself in my bedroom whilst I'm reading these stories. So if you did make it all the way to the end, I am impressed. If you give a little like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications, I will allow you into the cult of void without any initiation. That will be your initiation. Aren't you very lucky? Don't miss this opportunity. But yeah, whatever it is you're doing for the rest of the day, I hope you have a really good rest of your day. Goodbye.